Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. How are you? Happy Sunday. Ooh, wait, hang on a second. I forgot to get my coffee.
Oh, Duncan's supposed to be bringing me coffee. He's like,
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
gonna have. Is
nice.
it super good?
I have some Zimbabwe today from Schuler Coffee in Grand Rapids. I know.
Wow, wow,
Fancy me.
fancy. We'll
Hmm.
discuss that today. Our differences in our coffee tastes.
Very good. Um,
Yes.
so what's new, Ann Brothers?
I don't know, but there was this election thing that went on,
I know.
and
I heard about that.
I know. Yay! I can't stop smiling.
In our
Smiling's my
attempt
favorite now.
to stay apolitical on the brother sisters, sometimes you just can't.
I know. All right, enough said.
Okay, good.
Um,
Good.
we
Enough
had our friends
politics.
Tony and Jeannie over last night, and Jeannie's sister Jackie. So Tony, Jeannie, Jackie,
Hi,
they
Tony.
came over. We
Nice.
ordered pizza. We had a big bonfire because I pulled out all my dead sunflowers, and
Nice.
so we put them in the bonfire because I had a ton of them. And so we had bonfire and ate pizza, and Jeannie
Nice.
made apple crisp. So it was
Ooh,
a
yummy. Well,
fabulous night.
it's a perfect time of year for apple crisp. Ooh, Lisa Sammer says, "Hey y'all, Lisa Sammer, hey back." Hopefully things are going well in Illinois, and hopefully you guys are partying down in Illinois. So, yay.
Yay. Yeah, I
um,
will add that Duncan and I have bought 3 bottles of champagne in 12 hours. So that's
yes.
new.
Yeah. So new. Hey, look, it's Carrie Lennon. Carrie Lennon, hello. How are you? Excellent. Oh, there's Jeannie Caselli right there. She's saying, "Hey y'all, hey back, hey back." I'm sad that I couldn't celebrate with you with apple crisp and champagne and stuff. The nice thing here is that in Western Wisconsin, it's been super warm. So Joe and I have been basking in the
Mhm.
glow of our little back porch. The cats have been outside with us. So look, it's Aunt Julie. She's with us too. Hi, Aunt Julie. Aunt Julie, to be clear, that I am currently drinking Schuler Coffee, the Zimbabwe, what's it? It's not the single the single roast Zimbabwe, delicious, that you sent me. Thank you. So
Nice.
I've been hoarding
Nice.
it like in little tiny sips. What we got there? What's that?
It's probably from Zuzu's in here in Chelsea, and
Nice.
it's a decaf soy latte because most places around here don't do soy anymore because soy is out. But I
Oh,
like soy in my coffee because it's just a tiny bit sweet, and so yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And I was going to say something else now. Oh yeah, weather's been great here too. That's why we had pizza outside last night
nice.
and a bonfire because it was like 70 degrees here. Yeah,
Awesome.
global
Yeah.
warming.
Yeah, literally 5 days in a row of high 60s, low 70s. Today's the last gasp. It's windy like crazy. It's going to be about 70 degrees today, and then tomorrow is going to be. November's going to start again tomorrow. So, Tim Redlinger's with us. Yo, Tim, what up?
Our winter's starting again on Wednesday. So
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
yeah,
So, it's been fun while it lasted, though, for sure. I've enjoyed this little
me too.
respite, and it's been nice for
Hmm.
reals. So,
For real.
so
Actually,
yeah.
our neighbors from across the road are coming over tonight, and we're going to drink some more champagne and have chicken and stuff on the grill
Mm.
and bonfire
And bonfire. Yeah, because we can.
because
Yay.
because it's 70 freaking degrees on November 7th in Michigan. That's why.
Joe and I breakfast on the veranda this morning. So,
Oh, very nice.
which is
Did you guys
another
have
way of
like
saying, oh
sausage
no, we
McMuffin with egg?
we did not. I actually made breakfast this morning. We did not go to McDonald's or any other brunching. I just made breakfast and it was amazing. So
Nice.
there you go.
Very
Right
nice.
on. All right. So should we talk about coffee? Since this is literally a coffee talk about
Okay,
coffee.
about coffee. So, Jenny, why don't we start out with our coffee stories? Why don't you tell us how you got into coffee? Because Jenny's the biggest coffee snob I know. If you didn't know that about Jenny Brothers, biggest coffee snob. And I live with a beer snob, and she almost puts Duncan to shame, almost, because Duncan could go on
I like
forever.
coffee. All right.
Yeah.
So Anne, this is actually your fault.
Oh,
This is your fault because in 2002, when we were traveling together, so we were going from Michigan down to Atlanta over to New Orleans, and we somewhere along the way, we stopped in Austin, Texas to yes, Ann, thank you for Michigan, by the way. And I'm going to go ahead and take full credit for everything that happened in Wisconsin this week. So, yes.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I want you all to know, I'm bragging on myself, that I was a poll worker in Pontiac because I wanted to make sure that people could vote and that they would, and I didn't like try to influence anybody, of course, but I was like, I just wanted everybody to be able to have the chance to vote. And I'm proud of Michigan.
Good job. I'm proud of Michigan too. Lisa Samra claims to be a bigger coffee snob than me. You could be. I don't know, Lisa. We haven't talked coffee, so. But no, Ann, this is your fault because you took me. So here we are in Austin, Texas, and we're walking around, and it's hot, and you dragged me into a Starbucks. Well, I don't even know what this crap is, Starbucks. And then, so I had a Frappuccino, and that was good. And then I started exploring other coffees. It was like, it was a gateway coffee, and that Frappuccino was a gateway coffee. So anyway, I just started drinking more of it. And then, okay, my friend Dave owned a coffee shop in Denver. And so he started a coffee shop, and then I started drinking Dave's coffee. I'm like, this stuff's good. And like, I really started to understand what better coffee tasted like. So through the years, I'm just like, oh, so coffee's not supposed to taste like hell. It's actually supposed to be delicious. And if you drink the right coffee, it is actually delicious. And actually, I kind of got started with Annie Hannon's economic botany class, and she brought Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee in and let us have a little tiny sip of that. I was like, that's good. So it was just one of those things where through the years, I kind of started to enjoy it more and started to really try good coffee versus bad coffee. And the nice thing of living in Denver was that there was a lot of really good coffee available to drink and try. And then when we moved back to Michigan, I got a job working at Great Lakes Coffee and Chocolate in Sturgis, Michigan, which is now 5 Lakes Coffee. And I learned a ton working there. I learned about the different regions. I learned about, growing techniques in the different regions. I learned what I really liked as far as coffee, that I prefer African coffees that tend to be a little bit lighter and fruitier. I don't really love the Indonesian coffees. They're a little too oniony for me. And it's all about those soil profiles in these different places. And then I really enjoy your Central American coffees because they kind of are born from those African coffee regions and grow their coffee in the same way, plantation versus mountain grown, and there's just little differences that you learn through time. And it's been sort of an education, and, it's something that I love and I'm passionate about, and I could talk about it all day. And maybe someday I'll actually get to taste coffee for a living. They'll be like, you can be a taster at Starbucks. We're like slurping the coffee out of the spoon like they do. And like, I want that. Sorry, I just got off a little rant. I'm okay. I'm back. Anyway, we had all kinds of comments in the meantime. There's Lisa Samra. Here comes Susie Nelson. What does that say? Duder. I don't know what that says because it's so long. That's okay. Let's see. Lisa says hi to Susie. Susie misses. She missed us. She missed you, mother effers. I think she's talking to us.
I think so too.
For the record, I've never done anything like that. That's right. Oh, and that's right. We actually have a connection to Starbucks because here's Aunt Julie Brothers, who actually went to school with Howie Schultz when they were at Northern Michigan University together. Aunt Julie, didn't he have a crush on you or something like that? I'm just saying.
Wouldn't we be like related to somebody really rich instead of related to nobody rich?
Yeah. Huh. Anyway.
Could have taken a hit for the team there, I think.
Totally real. So Susie mocking me for using the term soil profile. Fine. Mm-hmm. I'm not ashamed to say that I've been a nerd forever because I am. Mm-hmm. So, Monica's with us. Hi, Monica. Good morning to you. Because it's still straight up morning in California right now, isn't it?
Straight up morning.
It's like 9 o'clock in the morning there. So that's pretty awesome. Oh, look at Aunt Julie. Monica's waving at everybody. So yeah, I would say, and our mood this morning might be somewhat giddy. So
I think it is. I think we're
this might be my third coffee this morning. I don't know. So Use. All right. So, all right, let's talk coffee. Let's get
Okay.
here. So I'm gonna bring the coffee into the stream here. I need to get rid of our background there. Give me 2 seconds while I do that, even though our background's
Sure.
amazing. That's better. All right. So, Anne, you basically put this presentation together, GA, which is impressive because you do know a lot about coffee because you too have taken Annie Hannon's economic botany class. For those of you that don't know who we're talking about, Annie Hannon, she was a professor at Eastern Michigan University, and she taught an economic botany class that was outstanding. And one of the topics in this economic botany class is coffee. And so that's probably the first place I really learned about coffee's growth, how it's processed, the beans themselves, whether something is a regular bean or a pea berry. It's pretty much awesome. So anyway.
Yes, I learned a lot about coffee, like I learned a lot about beer by listening to somebody else. My coffee experience started at Starbucks and never really matured. I like the idea of drinking coffee while I read, or like being in a coffee shop while I read. It's something I like to have while I read. I'm not big on caffeine too much. I don't consume a lot of caffeine at all, really. And so I usually get decaf coffee. And I have to admit, most places are very lazy with their decaf because it's usually not as flavorful. They just tend to burn it. So I have gone to some exceptional coffee houses and had some crappy decaf coffee. And I know it's just because they're being lazy with it. And I'm one of those people, like wine, if I know it's bad because I don't know anything. So that's, if you're with me and I'm like, oh, this coffee is terrible, know that it is the worst, because if it wasn't the worst, I would be drinking it.
Nice. Well, and the truth is, you can have great coffee, but if your establishment is not, and this is one of the things I learned working at Five Lakes, because they were very fastidious in terms of of keeping everything very cleanly and their machine clean, and really just worked hard to make sure that what they were doing wasn't harming the product, it was actually elevating the product. I thought that was, like I said, I learned a lot. And they're also a rotisserie as well, which is a big deal. So they do a lot of their own roasting, and I think they roast really well. We'll talk about some of those places in a minute, because I definitely have my favorites in terms of roasteries. So
right. So I did a little history lesson here. So where did coffee come from? And so how all myths start. It's probably mostly just story and a little bit of truth, but here's the most common coffee myth. So once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, legend goes, in the 8th century, an Ethiopian goat herder named Kaldi was tending his lazy, lethargic goats. After watching them eat some caffeinated, laced bright berries from a bush, he noticed the goats became more inquisitive and suddenly vigorous. Believing the berries could suppress his malarial fever, Kaldi ate some of the berries too. Feeling better, he decided to go to the local Islamic Sufi monastery and tell the imam about the berries. And the imam thought Kaldi was foolish and threw the berries in the fire. This produced the delicious coffee smell, and Kaldi took the berries from the fire, ground them up, added hot water, and coffee was born. So there you go.
Nice.
So again, they talk about like good coffee, like coming from Ethiopia. Well, it should. That's where it started.
Lisa Sammer has a comment about your story, Ann Brothers.
started this story once upon a time. I thought I would do that because I thought, how did these all start? And like, once upon a time, as the legend goes, oh, galaxy far, far away. Let's do all three.
That's fantastic. And I can remember in Annie's class talking about the fact that Africa was essentially the heart of coffee growing, and that it basically emerged from that neck of the woods, which makes sense because when you just look at human history in general, I'm like, it's pretty much the place. So, yep, it's where it all started. Thank you, Ethiopia. And I have to admit that Ethiopian coffee probably is my favorite to this day. The Ethiopian Urichepe. It's just such a wonderful, light, fruity, delicious, just it's my favorite. And we'll talk more about that too. All right. Okay. So that's kind of the origin story. Tell me more, Anne. Tell me more.
Well, coffee was first mentioned in the 10th century Arabian medical text written by the renowned Persian physician Raziz. So it was actually considered a form of medicine. And I imagine there's a ton of people around the world now who still consider it medicine. It was known as the see, there you go. It was known as the wine of Arabia, and it quickly spread to Egypt, Yemen, and then all around the Muslim lands. So it started in a Muslim country and just kind of expanded from there. Supposedly, the Prophet Muhammad said that the stimulation in coffee could allow him to unhorse 40 men and possess 40 women. So haven't seen that happen yet, but hey, you know, Coffee didn't make it to Europe until the mid 16th century, so the mid 1500s. But once it hit Europe, because basically they were just drinking beer and wine, so all of a sudden they weren't always drunk all the time, and they were super energetic.
Well, and it's amazing what you can do when you're not drunk all the time. You're like, hey, dude, look at all this cool stuff we made because we weren't drunk all the time.
Exactly. You know, is it really is it really a coincidence that that was kind of like the start of the Enlightenment? I mean, is that really such a coincidence?
I don't think so.
And then, of course, the first coffee house, so where Starbucks has its very, very first origins, the first coffee house was conceived of in Oxford, England. All those, you know, long-haired, pointy-headed, you know, smart types arguing about stuff in coffee houses. You know, that's where it started.
Bunch of smart brains and they're coffee drinking.
Exactly.
Aunt Julie's going to get you some good decaf from Schuler's, and Schuler's is on my list of places to go in Michigan as far as getting coffee. We'll talk about that. Yes, and Lisa would agree that it's definitely medicine. It is plant spirit medicine. Yes. Thank you, plants.
There you go.
Really, I mean, plants are the best because they give us things like coffee and weed.
Yes. So there you go. So.
Susie doesn't understand what we're talking about by not drinking all of the time. I'm like, I don't know. Since COVID started, it's sort of a ritual now. I'm like, if I'm not drinking this, I'm drinking that.
Exactly.
So yeah. All right. More stuff about coffee. Hit it.
Coffee plants have a natural insecticide that disrupts the nervous system of insects. So it's, you know, most plants have some sort of adaptation because they can't move away from something. So they have some sort of adaptation to protect themselves from insects or other things that might want to eat them. And coffee has this natural insecticide, which is great because then you have to use less pesticides on it because it already acts to protect itself. Coffee is in the same family, and I'm going to mispronounce these names, so excuse me. It's in the same family as the Chicona tree, and the Chicona tree is in the overall general family of the Rhabdia family, and this is where the first anti-malaria drug quinine was discovered. So they're in the same. So the coffee plant and the quinine plant are in the same family. So when people would drink coffee, because they felt like it would make them feel better from the malaria. It might have had, I mean, it made them feel better because it, you know, it caffeinated them. It didn't like cure malaria like quinine does, but it did make people feel better. And they're in the same category, which is interesting because the coffee was first discovered in Africa, and the quinine trees were first discovered in South America. So here you have these two things that are on different continents, but in the same family. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see. Coffee is the world's second most valuable legal commodity. Petroleum being first, coffee is second.
I believe it because it's, you know, it's a worldwide beverage. Everybody's drinking coffee. Everybody
everywhere. Everybody drinks.
Yeah.
The only state in the United States that produces coffee is Hawaii, and of course they would have the climate for it. There's no other place in America that really has the climate to grow it. And then the most expensive coffee is the Kopi Luwak. And the coffee berries are harvested from the digestive remains, or the AKA cat poop, of the Asian palm civet. And it can cost 350 euros a kilo.
I know, I call it the cat poop coffee.
Cat poop coffee.
Cat poop coffee. And I think that's one of the, it's an Indonesian coffee. And again, not my favorite, but, you know, people, swear by, Java and Sumatran coffees. And I'm like, dude, it's a matter of taste. That's cool. So, cat.
Yes. So, there you go. So that's a little history about the second most valuable legal commodity in the world, coffee. So, Either it's funny because Duncan's not a big coffee drinker until recently. He's like, I'll want to get a coffee. And he's like, oh, I'll have some of that. So recently, though he's not been getting his own coffee, he has been saying, why don't you get that in a large? And I'll have a little.
Nice.
So
it will be your mistress, your new mistress, Duncan. Your brand new mistress.
Exactly. I'm like, if you can drink beer, I don't know why you think coffee tastes bad. So.
Yeah, I get that for sure. For sure. Monica has a comment about the cat poo coffee concept. Never ceases to blow my mind. Well, it's just we'll call it it's a way to process the beans. It's like the thing is, they run those beans through the digestive system of an animal. They come out sort of pre-processed in the sense that because when it comes to breaking down, you have to get into that berry, so to speak, to get the coffee bean inside. And so that's just we'll call it a natural and efficient way to go get the berries out of the coffee, because they're essentially just pooping those coffee beans. So, and that berry has been digested and taken care of. So
heat and pressure. It always comes down to heat and pressure.
Maybe a little chemical reaction in the digestive system, and boom, you've got the most valuable coffee in the world.
Can't drink it fast enough.
I know. I just had a thought that was kind of gross. I'm like, does that mean that the corn that comes out of me after a 4th of July picnic, is that more valuable?
You should. You just got to make it. You just got to say so.
I guess. Marketing is everything. So
marketing is everything.
So exactly. If you happen to be in Michigan, where should I go get coffee? And you guys have apologies in advance for those people. This is, these broadcasts are often very regional. So sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. I would suggest Cultivate in Ypsilanti, which opened up just like a year or so before we left. Duncan and I left Ypsilanti. It's in Depot Town. Really very excellent coffee. They do sell some pastries. They have actually, this is kind of funny. Pre-COVID, this was really cool. They had very big family style tables, because their whole thing was not just to drink coffee, but to get to know people in your community. That's not as popular right now, surprisingly, but they still sell a lot of coffee. Avalon in Ann Arbor. Actually, there's a number of Avalon bakeries. It's part of a bakery, Avalon Bakery, which was started in Detroit. So there's like several Avalon coffee houses in Detroit. There's one in Ann Arbor. Very good coffee. They take a lot of pride in that, and then they make their own pastry. So if you're like me and you have coffee, you really want pastry to go with it. And both Cultivate and Avalon have very good pastry. You're going to see that's a theme with mine.
Yeah.
Speaking of another place that has good coffee and good pastry, is the actually pastry not so much, but it's a cute little place in Grass Lake, Michigan called the Roaming Goat. This is one of those places that does not serve soy milk because soy milk is out. But they do have a good cup of coffee. Nice people that own it. If you've never been to Grass Lake in Michigan, you join the club. There's lots of people that haven't. It's kind of this tiny little town. But they have a very good coffee place. I thought the goat thing, the whole goat thing with the coffee, I think is awesome. Blue Hat in Coldwater, Michigan. Jenny Brothers, who ever thought Coldwater, Michigan or Sturgis, Michigan would have coffee houses?
No doubt. And I'm just going to jump in and say that Blue Hat actually now they have one in Farmington. So if you're in the Farmington area, they just opened a Blue Hat there, or they had been in the process of opening it. So they might be open by now. And I know they're doing roasting there. And I think they're also still doing roasting in Coldwater. And they roast great coffee. They do a fantastic job of not just, their cafes are good. Just know you're going to wait a little bit there. They take their time when they make their coffee drinks because they use a lot of really good ingredients. They make their own homemade whipped cream. If you're getting a mocha, it's so good. So that's a great place. And again, if you just want to buy bags of really great coffee, their Ethiopian Yirgacheffe is my favorite of them all. So, and it's nice because I can mail order it and I can get it here. And it's great because they will often roast it, bag it, and send it to me. And so sometimes I'll have to wait a little while because they, so that they're doing fresh batches and stuff. So love them a bazillion. So.
Yes. So so that's what I was going to mention, that they're a roaster, and then they have somebody local that does their pastry, so they have very good pastry as well. The Falling Rock in Munising, Michigan. This is in the Upper Peninsula, and this is kind of like the center of the town, the little heart of the town. They have very good coffee, or you can get an ice cream cone. They also do lunch. They have a beautiful little used bookstore in there, plus a bunch of regional art. It's a fun place. If you're driving through the Upper Peninsula, stop at the Falling Rock, get yourself a coffee, whatever, hang out, enjoy the Upper Peninsula in a really great local place. You'll notice that mine have less to do with how good the coffee is and more about the experience that I have there. And if you want a great experience, Falling Rock in Munising is a great place to experience coffee.
And they brew Great Lakes Coffee Company coffee out of and they do a nice job. So, and I think Great Lakes Coffee Company is out of Detroit. Is that right?
It is. Actually, that's on my list too. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yep. And that's what they serve up there, and so it's super yummy.
Mm-hmm. My next one is the Crib and Marquette, which opened fairly recently. It's this old house that they converted into a two-story coffee house on 3rd Street. Really good coffee. They get a local bakery that does their pastries. It's just a lovely, big, long, tall windows, great natural light, wonderful local photography. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to sit and drink your coffee. Yeah, and it's, like I said, it's fairly new. It's only about a year old, year and a half old. Just a lovely place. They serve a coffee. It's called Crappie Coffee, and it's named after the crappie, the fish. So
nice.
But so they have a local roaster that does all of their coffees. Wonderful place. Then I have Great Lakes, which is in Detroit, as Jenny just mentioned, right on Woodward. And they make all their own simple syrup. So they do like if you're into, I love like a mocha that's made with chili, and they do their own cayenne simple syrup. And so they do a mocha with cayenne simple syrup and then a little bit of cinnamon. So good. Pastry selection, not great, but they do serve lunch there, and they have a full bar. So it's actually kind of a cool place to hang out. Note, it's kind of in the Cass Corridor area, so they get a lot of students from Wayne State. So it is a very busy place. So if you want to go there and sit, you probably won't get a place to sit, because that is like the place to be. Duncan and I, when we go there, are the oldest people there by like 20 years. So it is
nice.
Hip. It is a hip, cool place. The only thing that keeps
hip and cool
us out is that our credit card always goes through. So
that's gotta be kind of a rare treat for them, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And like, hey, these people can pay and they'll leave. So there you go.
Eventually.
But sometimes, it's like the DIA is about 5 blocks north of there, the Detroit Institute of Art. So you can go to the Detroit Institute of Art, look at some cool, beautiful, priceless works of art, and then you can walk down to, there's lots of places to stop, but we always end up stopping at Great Lakes, because Duncan can usually get a beer that he, thinks is worthy of him. I get a spicy mocha, and it's one year we went there on, Halloween was on a weekday. And they were trying to invent a drink that they could serve at that evening. And so Duncan and I were like the only people there, surprisingly, on a Wednesday afternoon at 3. And so they gave us this cocktail to share, because we were the first 2 people to see it being made. And they put like a plastic eyeball in it, and they couldn't figure out a name for it. And so Duncan's like, you should call it the Beholder, because when you tipped it up, the eye would look at you. And so Duncan got to name the cocktail there, the Beholder, their Halloween cocktail. So
the eye of the beholder.
Exactly. So I'm like,
Duncan, you clever bastard.
So there you go. Okay. Again, a lot of my coffee places have to do with experience. I'm a mediocre. I like coffee, but I'm not a connoisseur. I really am looking for an experience where I can enjoy it and enjoy what's around me. This one is sad. Duncan and I, for our birthdays, we went to the St. Joseph Benton Harbor area, and Cafe Rima. Actually, I said, oh no, this one isn't closed. I lied. This one is not closed. Cafe Rima in Flint. If you've never been to Flint, may I suggest that you go there and start out at their art museum. They have a lovely art institute. I mean, just a really nice little collection of a private collection. And then they often bring in very interesting exhibits. And then you go to Cafe Rima, which is right downtown, has this kind of Gothic look, wonderful coffee, just a really cool place to hang out. So, and then there's Clifford's Coffee in Benton Harbor. This is the one that just closed, which makes me so sad because it was so awesome, but it could not hang on through COVID-19. So unfortunately, Clifford Coffee in Benton Harbor is no longer. Here's another one. This used to be my favorite coffee place. Trick Dog in Alberta, Michigan. It was on a bluff overlooking the Alberta River.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's closed. They had all their own original art. They did they made all their pastry in-house. They had excellent coffee. They had a big, giant porch you could sit on. If I was going to have a church, that would have been in a building. That would have been my church. So that was heartbreaking. 5 Lakes in Sturgis, Michigan. Again, can't believe Sturgis not only has a coffee house, but a coffee roaster.
Well, and 5 Lakes too, what's cool about 5 Lakes is that they've expanded. You know, they started out 15 years ago, kind of before coffee was a big thing. And honestly, I think I look at 5 Lakes now as literally the heart of downtown Sturgis. And they've expanded. They're 5 Lakes Coffees at the Meyer in Sturgis. They have locations in Angola, and there's one other town that they're in, and I can't think of what it is, but you know, they've done a really good job. They're good, awesome, sugary coffee drinks are good, awesome, and sugary, but they also roast excellent coffee. They don't have the bean selection that they used to. They've sort of slimmed down their bean selection. My favorite out of there is their Tanzanian peaberry, their single roast, which is awesome. They do a lot of blends. I'm not a big lover of the blend myself. There's a few out there I really like, but they do a great job.
Yes. So there's Schuler Coffee, of course, in Grand Rapids. Jenny's talked about that.
Schuler.
I'm sorry, Schuler. They sell great coffee. They have a kind of a small space. So I've never really hung out there and got coffee, but I know they have good coffee there, and I've gotten good, you know, like something to, you know, on the way home, I go visit my Aunt Julie, and then I stop and get a coffee there. So they do have good coffee, but it's not like a great place to like hang out. You know, they don't, but they have tons of examples of coffee. So just about anything you could want, they have. They don't roast their own, but they have a great selection. And then the Water Street Coffee in Kalamazoo. They have a lot of tiny locations all over Kalamazoo. They actually have one in their one of their hospitals. I know because I spent some time there with my mom, and I'm like, oh yay, Water Street Coffee.
Water Street. Well, and so, again, they do. Go ahead.
Cute place. No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and they do also, and that's one of the things I like about Schuler and Water Street is that they do a lot of really good single origin coffee. And single origin means that it's a bean. It's not a blend of beans. It's a bean from a single place like in Ethiopia or Zimbabwe or Costa Rica, which is my preferred method of coffee drinking. And both Schuler, because like I said, Schuler just has a mad selection of coffee. Like if you want a single origin like a Zimbabwe, which is what I'm drinking right now, which is so good. And they also have, though, fun, I guess I would call them, you know, coffees like you can get what's the one that Aunt Julie you always
Cherry
get?
Banana Split.
Yeah, it's like like a maple coffee or something. It's actually really good, right. You know, and so you can get those sorts of, you know, flavored coffees like your French vanilla roast or your maple roast or whatever. And so they, like I said, they literally have coffee for every taste at Schuler, which is nice. Again, Water Street, they do. I like Water Street because I can get various Costa Rican origin coffees there, which again I like very much. So so Michigan really is not hurting for amazing places to get coffee, which is, you know, which is somewhat surprising when you think about the fact that it's in the middle, you know, northern Midwest of Michigan, but you know, here they are.
Also, if you're into, if you'd rather drink tea instead of coffee, Water Street has their own brand of teas that they sell, which are really, really exceptional. So if you're more of a tea drinker, they have several different varieties of loose leaf that are excellent. So that's another thing.
Nice. If you happen to be in Western Wisconsin or Eastern Minnesota, these are 3 of my favorites. And I don't, most of the coffee drinking I do at home, and I do a lot of mail-in depending on, you know, what I have at any given point. So right now I have coffee from Schuler. I have coffee from 5 Lakes, and I have coffee from blue hat in my home. About a year and a half ago, this little place right here, Three Arrows Coffee in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin, which is just up the road from me. They opened really excellent little coffee place. They've just started doing their own roasting. They do, and again, they mostly do blended coffees, which aren't my favorite, but they're pretty darn good. And it's just nice because they're just a lovely little place. It's really homey. It's really welcoming. They do a cold brew coffee that was my go-to this summer, which is awesome. Just up the road in Lindstrom, Minnesota, they have the Northwoods Rotisserie, and they, again, I would say, or roastery, I should say, and they do really good work as well. You can get more. You see a lot of Brazilian single origin come out of them, and I like the Brazilian coffees as well. Again, that Central American, Northern South America, yummy. And again, I don't get there as much. And the thing is, unlike, Anne, I know you're into the ambiance. Northwoods is nice. You've been there. It's lovely. Mm-hmm. It's a good sit and drink, and they've got a nice big deck, and so that's great. Yeah. I tend not to hang out at places. I usually get my coffee and enjoy it. And like I said, I do most of my coffee drinking at home. That's my ritual. Mm-hmm. Susie, yes, Water Street Coffee is excellent. Oh, here's Aunt Julie. Traverse City, that's it. The blend that we were talking about from Schuler, the Traverse City Cherry and Mackinac Fudge, a great blend. Yes.
I knew it had to have something cherry in it, so.
There you go. Awesome. The one I discovered just recently, and this was in the last couple of years, is the Duluth Coffee Company. I haven't really spent a ton of time in Duluth, but that particular coffee company, I had maybe one of the best coffees there in my life. It was a Costa Rican Angelica, it was like $7 for an 8-ounce cup of coffee, and I gladly paid it, and I would do it again.
Yeah, they wouldn't sell any to her. Like Jenny wanted to buy a bag of it, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't have enough to sell you. You can only buy this one tiny cup. Go."
I was like, I will take this tiny cup, and I will literally, like, at the end, I'm like, scraping the last drop into my mouth because it was so good. But again, the thing about coffee is that, on a daily basis, I'll drink coffee either black or I'll put some heavy cream in it, because heavy cream in coffee will change your life. It will change your life. You'll be a better person because of it. You're welcome. But I don't like to sugar up. Like a good coffee, you don't really need to do much to it. You can a good coffee, you can put it in your cup and you can drink it. If you have to put in, like non-dairy creamer or like French vanilla creamer, it means you're drinking the wrong coffee. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And if you want to just drink creamer. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. We won't judge you.
Now, the thing is, I'm not. And one of the things that I want people to understand is that I love a good sugary mocha drink. Hang on, I got to plug in my computer here. I love a good sugary mocha drink just as much as the next person. So I'm not a coffee snob in that respect, but if I'm just going to have a cup of coffee, I want it to be something that I don't have to do anything to. And unfortunately, the majority of coffee you get in the world, like if you go to a diner and get a cup of coffee, you're going to have to work that cup of coffee. Okay. Mm-hmm. Or it means you're old and this is the coffee they had in the Depression, so you just drank it. So
it was either this or ground up acorns. So we drank this.
That's hilarious. Eggnog on coffee says it. Yes, I would agree. Eggnog on coffee is delicious. Yeah, it's good. It is, and I do like a Starbucks does like some sort of eggnog mocha or some ridiculousness like that, which is awesome. And like I don't really get pumpkin spice latte and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't understand any of that, but that's okay. People love it, and if it's good job.
Yes,
but yeah, an eggnog.
Yeah. We have a coffee company here in Michigan called Big B's, and it's for the coffee drinker who hates coffee. And man, they have I was like, they should come with like an insulin shot, because they're like, it's coffee cake, ice cream coffee. So
yes. Yeah, they like when you drive along the roads of Michigan and they have like some sort of, like, I don't even know. Okay, I'm looking at it right now. I'm literally looking at the Bigby website, and they have the eggnog cream freeze, which is essentially, it's an entire cup of whipped cream.
With sprinkles. Yeah, they just really wanted to have sprinkles. Yeah, they're just going to someday break down and just put mini chocolate bars on it,
Exactly. I'm gonna do a share screen on that, because everybody needs to see what I'm looking at right now. All right, hang on. Let me find it. It's I'm going to do this tab. Where's okay, it's the Bigby Coffee. Okay. Can you guys see that? Can you see it?
It's
There it is.
It's
this one right here, the eggnog cream freeze. So, if you
sweet
don't
potato
like
pie latte.
Sweet potato pie latte, that's right. It's like it's the Thanksgiving. What did you call it? The Christmas drink they had, the birthday Jesus kaboom.
Oh, the birthday Jesus kaboom.
Yes. And actually, Anne, in your next life, you should absolutely design drinks for Bigby, because Anne came up with an idea a few years ago that Bigby should have a Halloween drink that comes with little mini candy bars sticking out the top. So
yeah, no, I had for the 4th of July, it was made with the coffee was, instead of using creamer in it, they just put in a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
now we're talking.
Jenny, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
My phone is ringing.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm gonna go back to our share screen here. Hang on, Chrome tab, coffee slides. There it is. Okay. So yeah, the other one that I was going to talk about, and Lisa, this is in your neck of the woods, is Intelligentsia, which is a coffee that I really like. And I got started on Intelligentsia because they Beezy's in Ypsilanti, Michigan, the awesome restaurant that Anne speaks of very glowingly. That's what they serve. They serve Intelligentsia coffee out of their house, and they have one specifically called Beezy's Blend, which is probably, as far as blended coffee goes, is one of the best. And I would say Intelligentsia probably does better with blends than anybody that I've tasted recently. And it's because they choose really good regions for their blends. Like they'll have, like Beezy's Blend is normally Central American and African coffees blended together, or like a Brazilian and an African. So they tend to have blends of regions that I like, and that's why I particularly like those. So, so we've got like a little string of comments going here. So I'm going to bring these up. We got Monica. Yeah, I love coffee with shots of espresso in it. There's many names for that. The red eye, the depth charge. And that's one of my favorite things, is to get a cup of coffee with an extra shot or two in it. Oh yeah, that really gets your heart going. This is why I'm going to die young, because my heart's just going to explode one day from all the caffeine in me. And Monica is also a coffee snob now, and I think that's fantastic, because life is short, and you should be drinking good coffee. Treat yourself to good coffee, good wine, good beer. So according to Tim, he said, my coffee hang when I lived in Michigan was Two Brothers in Brighton. Bigby Coffee, the Butter Bear. Sugar Coma, the Butter Bear.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you want to have a sugar hangover, then go to Bigby Coffee and get anything on their floofy coffee menu, because their regular coffee is not good. I don't know what they're brewing, but it's not awesome. But if you have a sweet tooth, go to Bigby, because yeah. Yep. And Julie says, I'm going to go get one. Yes, you are. Go get that Butter Bear. Meow. Or grrr.
Grrr.
So Lisa's with me on Intelligentsia. It is. It's just they have great coffee. They do a wonderful job. And that's one that I will, like I said, there's not an, it's nice because, again, they do a great job in terms of mailing and shipping your coffee. You just go to the website, order it. It's pricey, yes. But I just buy fewer groceries and get better coffee.
Indeed.
All right, here we go. Monica says, I worked for a doctor who suggested the ice cream in the coffee actually wasn't bad. Cooled the coffee off, made you forget it was cheap Folgers for a minute. Yeah, that would help. Ooh, yes. Intelligentsia's Black Cat Espresso is delicious. So good. Strong, delicious. Strong. I know. Let's see what it's. Monica says, for me, it's real coffee. No one makes the coffee strong enough here without extra shots. Okay, I'll buy that. I don't know. I think it just depends on the coffee itself. I find that for the most part, like Three Arrows and Northwoods, they do a nice job without having to add extra shots. I like the flavor that a shot of espresso brings to coffee. I just think, again, it just makes it better, stronger, faster. So, all right, I think that's all we had to say about coffee. Those are some of my favorite places to get coffee in this area. But like I said, I still do a lot of mailing. I do a lot of mail coffee. I get shipments from Five Lakes and Blue Hat pretty regularly. And, I also, if I get a hankering for something from Water Street or Intelligentsia, I can get it from there as well. So there's no shortage of coffee. Schuler also ships. They also, all of these places have really decent websites that are easy to get coffee from. So if you need coffee, There's plenty.
Plenty.
All right. Plenty. So that was fun. We had a coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
Let's see. Lisa says, want to talk about pour overs, AeroPress? All right. I was not super familiar with pour overs until I went to Duluth Coffee Company. And that's when I learned about the pour over from, because the coffee that I had, they're the one that I paid the $7 for the 8-ounce cup of coffee. They did a pour over on that, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't get a lot of information from the not super loquacious barista that was working, but she basically said that if you were any sort of coffee drinker, that you would do a pour over. Now, I'm not familiar with the AeroPress. I like a good French press coffee. I like my coffee to have a little sand in it when I'm done, and so that's why I do love a French press. So, Monica's going to start using the word delicious. Yeah, you should. I picked that up from Parks and Rec. John Ralphio says it's one of the episodes, and I just thought it was the funny thing ever, and it just stuck like that. I'm like, this schniz is delicious. So yeah, Lisa, tell me what an AeroPress is. Show me pictures. Give me information, because I just think it just sounds amazing, and I love to learn about it. So yeah, and I'm almost done now. I'm drinking coffee today this is one of the mugs that I got from Marquette, Michigan at the Goodwill, because it doesn't matter what you drink your coffee in, as long as what you drink your coffee in is something you love. So, and that's the end of it. All right. Lisa says she will send me information. I would love that.
Excellent.
Yes, because I'm not above buying too many coffee trinkets. So there. All right. So, yeah, big week this week. Kind of, I would say decompressing from this last week, because this last week was stressful.
It was. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Oof.
Oh, look. Ooh. I'm going to take a moment to acknowledge the fact that I just had a ginormous pileated woodpecker just fly into my feeder. He's hanging out there. I know. I love it that they've been coming around. So, yeah. We should have like a bird talk or something. More bird talk.
Definitely.
So, but I don't think there's anything bad about that, Lisa. Not at all. So. All right. Well, we will join you again next weekend for some sort of fun. We're not quite sure what that's going to be. If there's anything you would love us to talk about, something you want to hear about more, let us know. You can email us at, there's a bunch of information here. Smart Dumb Fun hang on. I got to find my banner. There it is. You can email us at smartdumbfun@gmail.com. You can hit us up in the comments on our Facebook page. What else am I supposed to say?
I think they can watch us on something.
Watch us on the
Share.
page.
I don't know.
FaceTime book. Yeah. Anyway, watch us, love us, share us, like us. Just don't use us and throw us away. Okay.
Exactly. It hurt our hearts.
Indeed. But anyway, you guys, that's it for this week. Like I said, we'll be back next weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, and we will talk about more stuff. I know. Can you hear him? He's just chattering away out there. Lisa, we will take care. You take care as well. And thank you for joining us today. It was great having you. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Brand in the back there, and tell everybody until next week. Thanks, you guys. You're the best. Bye.
Bye.